Yo, good evening, Titan Nation. How's everybody doing this? How y'all doing? We're gonna get started in a minute. Now, had to get a nice little introduction in there. Welcome everybody into Titans and Truth. I'm your man Chris, aka Blue Enforcer, and we are gonna have a very um, somber episode this evening. We'll have to let y'all know if you're looking for positive outlook from the game. If you're looking for, let's find the happiness in what happened, this is not going to be the show for you. Because truth be told, and this is the other part of Titans and Truth, you know, I'll talk good about the team when they done well. But I'm going to also criticize the team when they don't. And this past Sunday, and some of you, as you come on in to the show, shouting fantastic, what's up, what's up, terrible loss. I agree. This game was a unmitigated Titanic disaster. This is what it was like when the Titanic sunk in 1912 in the freezing cold of the Atlantic Ocean. I felt like I was sinking during this game as the Tennessee Titans got absolutely murdered 38-10 through the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, I know Andrew Luck is back to form, which is very bad news. And by the way, the music that you heard, I do not own the rights to that song. Much thanks to the WWE. That was No One Will Survive, the theme for NXT champion Tommaso Ciampa, if anybody watches wrestling. Not a Ciampa fan, but that song is banging. I'm not even going to lie about that. But I do not own the rights to that song. What's up, Alan? What's up, AZ Mick? How's it going? We're going to definitely get into that. It did feel like Houston last year. I do agree with that. This game, and before I get into that, I forgot to thank my sponsor. That would be Craft Gasman Creations and Miss Crystal Cleveland. Again, I keep telling y'all about her. Yeah, I need to get down and get. Now, I've seen me in my Titans and Truth shirts. I'm not wearing one right now. Haven't had time to get it, but y'all have seen me wearing the shirts and things like that. Y'all should go get you a Titans and Truth shirt. Definitely check that out. Get you a shirt, get you a sweatshirt, get you a hoodie. Definitely hit her up. Like I said, is at Craft Gasman Creations on Facebook. Uh, Also, you can hit up LaCrystal Cleveland herself, and you can also go on Instagram and check her out at craftgasby_creations. Give me just a moment. Just getting something together here. There we go. All right. So I just, like I said, I put her the name of her business and her name on there. So if you're very serious about getting any kind of a shirt, you can get with her on that. Tell her that Chris of Titans and Truth sent you. So she'll definitely show you some love on that. And that's some of the good love that I'm going to talk about on the show. That's basically the only piece of good love I'm going to have. So Hey, that'll be great. If you're going to the game in Houston, definitely do some live. Classic ride at work, graveyard shift. I understand. Get that money. Make that money. Look like they were dead in the graveyard. I agree. And like I said before, this was a unmitigated disaster from beginning to end in this loss. And Classic Rod, you're absolutely right. It felt like they were dead in a graveyard. It felt like this Tennessee Titan team did not even wake up out of their beds to get on the plane to go to Indy. I don't know what that team was that showed up in Indianapolis, Indiana this Sunday. It was not the Tennessee Titans. It was more of the Walking Dead or zombie or World War Z or something where there's a bunch of zombies. I mean, at least those zombies were on the move looking to try to kill somebody, but the Titans looked like they were lost from the kickoff. And the first drive looked promising, but then, you get a terrible sack, no kind of adjustments, and you get kicked out of field goal range. And instead of getting at least 3 points, you got to punt the football. And what does Andrew Luck and the crew do? Go down and score on their first possession. So, I mean, there were, when I say anything that could go wrong for the Titans, did go wrong in this game. I mean, it was awful. I honestly felt like this was the combination of the Baltimore game and the Buffalo game combined. The Titans played worse in this game than they did in both of those games combined. In the Buffalo game, the defense held them at bay. They just couldn't make a stop on third down, and the offense just really wasn't in sync. And Nick Williams, who is no longer on the team, all they had to do is catch that pass. He scores a touchdown. Titans win. Baltimore offensive line was just terrible. Marcus took a beating. The defense tried to keep him in it, but I mean, it wasn't a total blowout. But this game, nobody played well on either side of the ball. They were terrible in all three phases of the game. I mean, offense was out of sync, was terrible. Well, really, the offense was never in sync to begin with. Defensively, they got just dominated. And this is supposed to be the number one scoring defense in the league, and they gave up their average in the first half. They gave up 17 points in the first half en route to giving up 38. And then special teams had that terrible kickoff return that they let get back. And if it wasn't for a penalty on them, that goes for a touchdown. So all three phases were horrible. And, one of my pick my brain questions, Shaolin Fantastic comes in with, do you think Dean Pease hospitalization had anything to do with it? Of course, if some of you didn't know, Dean Pease went out either right before the game started or it was like during the first quarter when he had some kind of a complication, which they said could have possibly been either a mini heart attack or a stroke or something, which thank God there was a great positive outlook on that. So it looks like everything's okay. Dean Pease is back here in Nashville and will be returning to the practice field and everything. But, Mike Vrabel said he's going to be working banker's hours, so he's going to be taking it easy. I think that may have had a little bit of something to do with it because I think the rhythm of the calling of different blitzes and coverages was completely off. And so when your leader, when the person that's calling the plays is not there, that has it out of sync. And who takes over? Which I'm thinking most likely it was Mike Vrabel that took over. But, I mean, I don't know how involved in the defensive game plan he was. But, when Dean Pease was gone, yeah, that kind of messed things up a little bit, but there was still no excuse for how this team performed offensively or defensively for that matter. So, let's quickly let's go into the main two phases. I mean, special teams, bad all the way around. But let's get into right quick things everything that just went wrong. So, I mean, like Alan Duggan said, after watching last night's game, rude awakening on how far away we are. And next week we have to ball out, who knows? Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna get into last night's game in just a bit, because I definitely want to talk about that. Classic Rod, let's start with the offense. The offense is the definition of inconsistency. And I've said this before, and I will say it again. This Titan team is very consistent at being inconsistent. That is one thing that they are, we talk about consistency all the time. That is one thing they are very consistent at, is being inconsistent. I mean, it's night and day. 1 week against the Patriots, well, really 2 weeks, they look great against the Cowboys, great against the Patriots. Then they just look horrible against the Colts. And I don't know what they're going to look like in Houston. I have no idea, to be honest. I have no idea how that's going to look. I'm actually kind of nervous about this game. But I mean, offensively, there was no chemistry. I don't know what kind of game plan Matt LaFleur had. Whatever stench of a game plan he had, it didn't work. I mean, early on, like in the first drive, it looked like they had some stuff going. Corey Davis caught a pass or two. He caught a third down conversion. Deion Lewis was running the ball a little bit. So it looked like they had something, but then the Colts, the defensive coordinator for the Colts decided to do something unusual. I think maybe that was something that the Titans didn't expect, because the Colts were not known as a blitzing team. They didn't blitz a whole lot. In this game, they blitzed a lot. And like they kept saying in the broadcast, all year they only blitzed about 5 times on third down. They blitzed about 5 times on third down in the first half alone. They, once that first blitz worked and rattled Marcus into that sack, the defensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts was like, well, you know what? We finna be aggressive. We finna keep attacking. We finna keep blitzing. And they blitzed. I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, they blitzed about 70% of the game. The Colts blitzed. And it seemed like we had absolutely no answer for it. We didn't adjust. We didn't go to max protection. And if we did, it was a terrible version of max protection. I mean, nobody on the offensive line did well. Not even Taylor Warren, and he was one of the highest graded players according to Pro Football Focus, which many of you know I don't give a damn about Pro Football Focus, to be honest. But nobody played well. On the offensive line, I don't know what's wrong with this offensive line, but I think it starts at the interior. It's just terrible. Josh Klein should not have been re-signed. John Robinson made a huge mistake signing him back. He sucks. He sucks. He sucks. Ben Jones, he's regressed. I think he's gone after this year. Josh Klein, I know, just re-signed. And if I'm John Robinson, I'll be like, you know what? Just eat the money and get rid of Josh Klein. And Quinn Spain, I don't know if I keep him either. I would just revamp the entire offensive line. And I mean, I've even heard rumors that they may move Jack Conklin inside to guard and put Dennis Kelly at tackle, at right tackle, because Dennis Kelly's done well at right tackle. And maybe that'll help Jack Conklin a little bit. I think Jack Conklin will, going forward, be the right tackle, but I don't think he's fully healthy from that ACL tear. I don't think he's 100% yet. I think he might be about 70% maybe. So I don't know what that problem is, um, with that offensive line. But I think it starts in the interior of that. So I'm just going through some comments, and I'm gonna go back and forth through some comments. So I guarantee you on that. Class Ross saying they chose not to use Derrick Henry on 3rd and 1. Yeah, they probably could have used Derrick Henry a little bit more. Logan says trusting. It's frustrating that we trust Deion Lewis more than Derrick Henry on 3rd and short because Derrick Henry hasn't been playing well. And I mean, Deion Lewis, he wasn't great, but I mean, Deion Lewis seems to be a little bit more reliable. Like I said, Derrick Henry did some nice things against New England, but in you know what? He did okay. I gave an apology. But that didn't mean that I was all of a sudden back on the Derrick Henry train. This is still Deion Lewis's backfield. And I think everybody needs to understand that. I know there's a lot of Alabama fans in the Mid-State and in Titan Nation, and a lot of Alabama fans that listen to this show. But this is Deion Lewis's backfield, y'all. And you might as well just get used to it. I don't think Derrick Henry is back after this year. I think we're looking for another running back, somebody that may be like Deion Lewis, but could be a little bit tougher and can catch passes out of the backfield. And I know I'm going all over the place, and I'm going to get back to the offensive line in a second, but we need a back that's like a Todd Gurley. If we got Matt LaFleur, we're thinking that, it's going to be like the Rams offense. But we don't have the talent to be like that. We don't have a Todd Gurley. We got to go get one or somebody similar to that. And it's really not too many running backs that are like him. You got to have a Cooper Kupp. And I'm thinking that could be Tajay Sharp a little bit. You got to have yourself a burner like Brandon Cooks. We don't have one of those. Corey Davis has the potential to be a number 1, but you got to surround Marcus with some weapons that's going to produce. We don't have any that will produce. Taywan Taylor ain't producing. Jonnu Smith, yeah, he did okay, but he ain't really producing. We need Delaney Walker back. So I think we need to stop our expectations thinking that we were going to be similar to the Rams offense. I'm guilty of that as well. I kind of thought that. I was wrong. We're nowhere near close to the Rams offense. And, maybe John Robinson realized he's going to have to build his offense up a little bit differently. And that's something that he's going to definitely have to do in the offseason. Classic Ride, Gnosis, Titans O-line, a big issue with this team. I agree. Give Mariota the Colts offensive line, and he could actually go through all of his progressions. Agree. Andrew Luck could just do no wrong. That offensive line, I don't know what happened to that offensive line. Obviously, Chris Ballard did some, investing. They got Quentin Nelson, who looks like a Pro Bowl all-pro guard. Ryan Kelly, a very good center. They got Costanzo, who we thought was terrible. He's been pretty decent. That offensive line, Andrew Luck could sit back there, cook up his Thanksgiving dinner, put out the ingredients, cook it up and everything, and still throw a pass after about 30 seconds of sitting back in the pocket. There was nobody even close. I don't think the Titans even touched Andrew Luck. That offensive line is what the Tennessee Titans were supposed to be, and they were not. So, the battle in a football game is always won or lost, beginning to end in the trenches. And we got dominated in the trenches. Really on both sides of the ball. And I'm going to get to the defensive side in a minute. But, the offensive line was just terrible. Terrible. Especially inside. Klein's got to go. Jones, I think, is done. And Quinn Spain, I don't think he'll be back either. So they're going to have to revamp the offensive line. Marcus. And a lot of people think I'm a Marcus Mariota apologist. Like I've said, I believe in Marcus, but my confidence in him has been shaken. I said this earlier this year. My confidence in him is still kind of dropping still because, I mean, he has good games, bad games. He will have good markets, bad markets. Sunday was terrible, Marcus. He held the ball way too long, a lot, which, I mean, he does that often. And you know, you got to make some quick, hot reads and, you know, adjust to seeing that the blitz is coming. And I think when he got that first sack, he got rattled. He got rattled. He got afraid and started, you know, anticipating, oh my God, they're for the blitz again when they're really not. They were in the Colts defense was in his head. And when you let another defense into your head like that, they got you. They can do whatever they want. They know you're scared of them. They know they got you beat. They know they can just do whatever they want, you know, and it'll be successful. They can blitz you. They can, you know, show blitz and then drop back into coverage and confuse you. That's what happened on that first interception in cover two. I'm thinking, you know, Marcus could probably pick a cover two apart. Not really, because, you know, it looked like the flat was there, but he thought it wasn't there. And then he tried to throw over, I think it was Jonnu Smith that he might have been trying to go to, and then it was picked off. So, I mean, you know, Joseph said, you know, we need to win Houston. Loved hearing me on 102.5 The Game. Yeah, I mean, I said it on that show with Jared and the GM. I said the problem that I think this offense has is that they follow the attitude of the quarterback. And again, I am a Marcus believer, but I'm not letting him off the hook. A lot of people thought that I was letting Marcus off the hook and not blaming him for things that happened in this game. No, Marcus deserves a lot of blame. He held the ball too long. He didn't go through his progressions quick enough. He didn't change some reads at the line of scrimmage. And, you know, he started hearing ghosts. He started seeing ghosts. He started hearing footsteps that were not there. So Marcus had a terrible game. And I think the rest of the offense flows from the quarterback. As I've said before, attitude reflects leadership. A la Remember the Titans. You know, in that movie, you know, Wood Harris, who played Julius Campbell, told Gary Bertier, told his captain, he said, y'all the guys ain't blocking right. And, Bertier told Julius, he said, that's the worst attitude I've ever seen. Attitude reflects leadership, Captain. And Marcus is supposed to be one of the captains of this team. And I know he's really laid back. He looks like nothing gets to him, cool, calm, and collective. I just think this offense is just a bit too cool. There's not fire. There's not passion, you know? And I mean, I know Marcus may never be that, but some people got to start getting into somebody's ass. I'm like, seriously. Somebody needs to show some heart and some passion on the offensive side of the ball, because right now I'm not seeing it. Derrick Henry, he's not right for this system. He's not right for the system. You know, he wants to bounce everything outside to a hole that's not there instead of running in the hole that may be there. And instead, he wants to hit the home run 50, 60 yards instead of just taking the 5, 6 yards a chunk that can add up to first downs and can add up to those carries. And I'm getting sick and tired of everybody saying, well, Derek needs to have carries to get going. He needs to just start getting some carries and then he'll get going. No, you get going from the first carry you get. You should need 15 carries to get yourself going. You get going from carry number 1. And that's the problem I have with Derrick Henry. Dion Lewis, very shifty, gets away from tacklers. He has a little bit of a fumble issue, but it's few and far between. And the receivers, Tajay Sharp, had the touchdown, but that was from Gabbard. I don't think in this game Mariota went to Davis enough. And then after he went hurt, and after he got hurt and went out, and I'm gonna get to hurt in a moment, Blaine Gabbert just doesn't seem to go to Corey Davis at all. I mean, I know he goes to Sharp, he goes to Jonnu or Stocker or Ferkser because those are the guys he normally works with on the second team. I don't know why he doesn't go to Corey Davis more. I don't get it. I mean, Gabbert's like, I'm going to go with the guys I trust. And obviously, Corey Davis is not one of them. I don't know why. I don't have an answer to that question. But we've got to get some consistency all over the map offensively. And I think it begins with the offensive line. They got to take some blame. Then it goes to the quarterback. Marcus has got to stop with the stupidity. Quit holding the ball too long. If something's not there, throw it away. You might as well do that instead of getting a sack. Because if you throw the ball away, at least you have a shot at a field goal at times. So there's got to be some consistency there, and I just didn't see it. Let's see. All kind of STDs can be caught with that kind of protection. You talk about the Titans offensive line. I agree. I mean, the Colts offensive line, you're not going to catch anything with them because they'll protect you. So, I mean, that was funny right there. I like that. Alan said we got to do something. Staying the same is not an option. I'm all for Conklin at guard. He's not cutting it at tackle no more. Kelly is valuable. Like I said, I still think Jack Conklin could be a good tackle, but I think to protect him with him coming back from the ACL tear, they should move him inside. Or tighten up set it, vice versa. Put Kelly at guard, and you can keep Conklin at tackle. I mean, might as well try something. The way this O-line is looking is not working. So you got to try something different. And, I mean, I think we do need another receiver and stuff like that. Classic Rod talking about Le'Veon Bell. No. Selfish, self-centered, only thinks about himself. Didn't even accept $14 million he could have gotten this year just by showing up. No Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell is greedy, selfish, and a ball hog. Don't you remember Chris Johnson? Chris Johnson was whining and complaining, wanting the extra money. Bud Adams gave him the money. What did he do after that? Absolutely nothing. And that's exactly what Le'Veon Bell will do. Le'Veon Bell will get his money and then, oh my God, I don't want to get hurt. And will just play like absolute dog crap after he gets his money. Don't want that. K True said, if we want to be a contender, we absolutely cannot pay Marcus over $100 million. I mean, I don't know. Next year is a fifth-year option. I don't think they're going to pay him yet. Fifth-year option, better try something, because I heard Zach Bingham say this on A to Z Sports. I believe this was Monday. He was like, you know what? They're probably going to play it out. Let him play his fifth-year option out, and if he does some good, then, hey, we'll re-sign him. If not, he walks, and we'll go get a quarterback in 2020. We'll go get a quarterback in the 2020 draft, because the 2020 quarterback class is supposed to be better than the class coming out of 2019. And, of course, that is the Tua Tagovailoa sweepstakes, which people are going to take like crazy for him. So we're going to see about that. Luck had a walk in the park all night, didn't get touched at all. And that's something. I'm going to get into that. We were trying to be better, not like everyone else. They're successful because of coaching and players. Yeah, I agree with that. K. True Henry needs to stop dancing around, all that buffness for nothing. Need leg days. My man bench 400 and squats 85. Well, he needs to act like he does that and bowl through some people. And I mean, I just think offense as a whole was just out of sync. Matt LaFleur deserves a lot of blame as well. Sorry about that. But Matt LaFleur deserves a lot of blame as well, because, I mean, he was inconsistent in his play calling also. And, I mean, seeing Mike Vrabel and Matt LaFleur as rookie coaches. You know, Matt LaFleur has never called plays before. Mike Vrabel's never had coach before. I think it's starting to show. And I think they'll get better, but, you know, we should have expected some growing pains and things like that. But I know we're tired of waiting because we've been told to be patient. We've been told to give it time. And you got rid of Mike Mularkey, who gave you back-to-back 9-7 seasons, took you to the playoffs. You win a playoff game. And because he wouldn't get rid of Robisky, he got fired, which I still agree with that. But if you're going to go get, if John Robinson goes to get another coach and goes to get his guy, which of course I think Vrabel got the job because he was a former Patriot, you basically are saying that this new coach I'm bringing in will take us further than the coach I just fired. And I think even Amy Adams Strunk said it, is that, you know, they were expected to go for division titles and get to the AFC Championship at least and things like that going into the draft that's going to be here. They don't look like a team that's going to get to the AFC Championship. They may not even make the playoffs, but we're going to find out because this game coming up is the season's on the line, plain and simple. So, you know, that's the thing about that. To the defensive side of the ball, what a terrible performance. And like I said before, battles are won and lost in the trenches. The Titans got destroyed on both sides of the trenches. The offensive line was bad. The defensive line was equally as bad. I mean, Jarrell Casey couldn't do anything. Arapo and Morgan, they're gone after this year. I mean, combined, they only have one sack. And the only reason that Arapo has that sack is because he ran Dak Prescott out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage. He didn't really hit him. And, I mean, this defensive line is just not getting the pressure because sometimes you got to be able to get the pressure with just four guys. They were doing that against New England, and they were doing that against Dallas. I don't know why they weren't able to do that against the Colts, but the Colts have a good offensive line, so I got to give them credit for that. And, you know, we still need another 3-4 defensive end and a nose tackle because – I mean, I think Austin Johnson is okay. He's a decent role player, but he's not a guy that's going to start for you. Benny Logan, I don't know what he's doing here because he's not really that good because the guy, Kilgo, who was on the practice squad and brought up to the team, has played better than Benny Logan. I mean, terrible for Benny Logan. And Daquan Jones, where has he been? Daquan Jones, they re-signed him, which I didn't like that, by the way. I mean, Daquan Jones has done nothing this season. Nothing. Unless I'm wrong. And like I said, Arapo and Morgan are combined for one sack through 10 games. That's unacceptable. I always thought Derek Morgan was a bust. I didn't like him after the first couple of years on the team because he was injury prone and stuff like that. I mean, if you're a first round pass rushing draft pick, you're supposed to be getting 10 sacks a year on average. And he hasn't even hit 10 sacks in one season yet. Arapo has at least had multiple 10-sack seasons with this team. And, you know, so we're obviously going to be looking for another pass rusher to go along with Harold Landry. And I mean, Sharif Finch, he's not there yet. But speaking of Harold Landry, Jared the GM was talking about, you know, what happened with Rashaan Evans. Maybe they should move him to outside linebacker to rush the quarterback. You know, they were talking about where has Rashaan Evans been. I think Evans is getting a little bit better every week. But, you know, I didn't really hear much from him in this last game. I haven't heard much from Harold Landry in the last couple of games. Against New England, he didn't do anything. And in this game, he didn't do anything. So I don't know what's up with Harold Landry. I don't know if the ankle is still bothering him or something like that, but he hasn't had a lot of get off, you know, as Brian Arapo would say. So I don't know what's up with the pass rush, but they better find a pass rush and better find it quick and get it together. And I think the most consistent part of the defense has been the linebacking play. Jayon Brown has had a very good season up to this point. He didn't play particularly great in this game. Wesley Woodyard had 8 tackles, but wasn't very effective. And I mean, again, Rashaan Evans, wherefore I thought Rashaan Evans. I haven't seen him in the last 2 games. I don't know where he at. Somebody put out an APB out on Rashaan Evans and find him and bring him back to the facility to get ready for Houston, because I haven't found him yet. So I don't know what's up with that. And then the secondary, my goodness. Malcolm Butler got worked a little bit. I mean, he didn't give up the big play. That distinction had to go to Adoree Jackson, because T.Y., the strategy was good to put Adoree Jackson on T.Y. Hilton the majority of the game, but T.Y. Hilton worked Adoree. Now, on that touchdown pass, 68-yard touchdown pass, Adoree was right there, but he should have turned his head at least a little bit to find the football, because I think if he does that, he could have picked it off. So, I mean, I just thought with the beaten coverage, Andrew Luck just threw it right into T.Y.'s breadbasket. He threw it right where T.Y. Hilton was the only one that was going to get to it. And I got to tip my hat off to, and I tip my cap to the Colts. I mean, 297 yards for Andrew Luck in this game, and he threw for 3 touchdowns. I mean, a extremely solid performance for Andrew Luck, without a doubt, and a terrible performance for us. Adoree had probably his worst game as a Tennessee Titan in his career. I don't think that'll last, because I know Adoree, he's the type, he's going to fix what he did wrong. Byard, I haven't seen much from him all year. Vaccaro continues to play well. Maybe not so in this game, but, he did his thing this past week. So, I think the secondary will be okay, but just a bad day overall for the defense. And so, after this whole debacle, and we didn't get a score until about 1:49 to go in the game, I want to find out from y'all, who is your dunce of the day? Because I'm not giving out any, I'm not going to give out a two-tone blue star of the week, because quite frankly, nobody deserves it. Nobody deserves a two-tone blue star of the week, because nobody earned it. Everybody looked terrible. Nobody had their stuff together. And so, before we get some nominations, I'm going to read some other comments. Let's see. Yeah, Joseph saying, I love watching wrestling. Tennessee play like classic reinforced Resident Evil zombies. We have a lot of games where we don't know who to blame. Alan Duckett says that. I mean, I agree. Sometimes we don't know who to blame for that. But I think there's enough blame to go all the way around. So that's why I, help with doing that. So, with this, so, you guys can vent about this game. So that's what I'm here for. Just going to read a couple more comments. Let's see. Joe said Tennessee, the Titans need to run the ball more, stop running their mouths, stop showboating after a big victory. They end up eating crow the following week. I don't know if they necessarily showboated after a big win. I still wouldn't do that. I mean, I would just be like, now I wouldn't want to be the one to just say, oh my God, we had this big, huge win. We did it. We're unstoppable. Nah, I wouldn't want to do that. So, that's, yeah. I mean, this is the second time this season that they had a huge letdown after a big win. It did against Buffalo and against Baltimore, and now against the Indianapolis Colts. And so we got to see Is it going to be much more difficult with Houston on the docket now? As far as you know, I'm talking about as far as the Houston game being like the Baltimore game or like the Buffalo game. So hopefully that this loss doesn't become a microcosm of what can come, or this starts the downward spiral of the Tennessee Titans. I really hope that's not the case. Clarence Ross said, I think Landry was the only guy who even touched Luck and the only pressure on the stat line. That's true. I think they only got credited with one pressure this whole game. And that's just terrible. That's not how this is supposed to be. K True said, who let Paris Cox back on the field? I don't know. I mean, is Logan Ryan the new Paris Cox? I pray to God he's not. I mean, not Logan Ryan, Malcolm Butler. Titan says, I hope we don't doubt Adoree' after one game. I won't. I won't. And I don't think anybody else should either. You know, because Adoree', I think, is the best cover corner we have on this team. Logan Ryan has done pretty well. Byard is bringing up a distant third. Yeah, Adoree's going to be fine. Adoree's going to be fine. Tighten Up says, Dunce, Matt LaFleur. Nice one. Dunce of the season for Classic Ride O-line. The Kilo says LaFail for LaFleur. K2 saying the whole team gets dunked this week, and hopefully they took the L as a lesson. AZ Mick says, what team is going to show up against the Texans? That's an excellent question. That is an excellent question. I don't know who they're going to be showing up, but they better be a good football team showing up. Because this whole up and down stuff, it's over. We're tired of it. And they need to get their act together on both sides of the ball and be a little bit more consistent and get out here and win these games. We're going to find out what team shows up against Houston on Monday night, because this is probably the biggest game of the season. This game is our season. So they better find a way to win this game, this Predators game, so that they can move on to the next game, still have a shot at the playoffs. So Class Rock said, do you think Mariota will play this week? They said he had a stinger and not re-aggravation of the ulnar nerve. I think he'll play. I think he's going to play because he gives us our best option to win. So I would, I would definitely say that this game will go a long way to determining who we are. And so they better fix it and better fix it fast. Definitely. But I definitely, like what Classic Rod said about the O-line, K True saying the whole team, AZ Mix saying what team will show up. Classic Rod saying, you think Marcus played this week? That's why I answered that question already. I don't know if Marcus is going to play this week. My gut instinct tells me he is going to play this week. And if he does, that'll be huge. And that'll be, maybe that'll give us a spark. Even if he ain't 100%, as long as he's somewhat well and can, and, as long as he's okay to compete and is not, he hasn't lost feeling in his hand or anything, then yeah, Marcus should be just fine. So I apologize for that. So I'm going to say the dunce of the day, I think it has to go to the whole team because nobody played well. Nobody did anything right. But I mainly will have to say the biggest dunce of the day has to go to both of the lines in the trenches, both offensive and defensive line. So you guys are the dunce of the day. both lines, literally. Offensive and defensive lines were terrible. So, you know, it is what it is with that. So after that, I want to get into right quick, before we end the show. I mean, what a game last night between the Rams and the Chiefs. And I knew it was going to be a shootout, but I didn't think it was going to be like that. And I'm going to have to go back and actually rewatch this game from beginning to end because, I mean, these two teams combined put up 105 points. Whoever bet the over in that game made a fortune because, I mean, they were scoring everywhere. Patrick Mahomes scored almost threw as many touchdowns in one game as Marcus has all season. And I think Patrick Mahomes is a little bit over 30 touchdowns already. Marcus can't even get to 10 touchdowns. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's the fact that these two teams scored at a high rate. And the question I pulled up, the question I kind of put out on my Facebook page was, I said I was watching this game and I was mad thinking, why the Titans can't do this? And I got comment among comment among comment. And I'm going to read off just a few on that. A guy, my friend Arthur says they can every full moon. Miss Sharon says they can, we win, lose, win. Yes, it's crazy. Sharon says, the Titans were watching that game. They better be watching the game. LaFleur better be watching that game and be like, this is what our offense should be like and may need to become. 80 says, why we can't do this? Because our quarterback holds the ball 30 seconds, stares down his receivers, and we let them off the hook and blame the offensive line and OC every year. Like I said, again, I'm not letting Marcus off the hook. I give him full responsibility for his actions and for the lack of plays he could have made. So, this I would like to see it look like the Rams or the Chiefs, but you got to take a look at who they have as coaches. Sean McVay came in swinging and has not looked back yet. And Andy Reid has been known as an offensive genius. He did well with Alex Smith, and then when Smith's time was up, gave it to Patrick Mahomes. They haven't missed a beat. So, I mean, 54-51. Wow. That was a football game, even though there was no defense being played, which there should have been. Chris Grauser says on Facebook, offensive line can't block. If they can, we could. And I'm thinking as opposed to staying at the, I think staying at the Y or something like that. When we, I'm sorry, I completely lost my train of thought for a second. The offensive line, if they could block better, we could do a whole lot of different things. And I'm sorry, y'all, I'm kind of tired. I've had a long day today, but I'm trying to work through it and everything. So forgive me for any distraction. But this Rams offense is what the Titans are supposed to be building up to. And I was watching that game, and I just I'm seeing both of these teams just going back and forth scoring. I mean, at one point it was like 44-40 in the beginning part of the fourth quarter, and I'm like, they're putting up 40 some points, and the game is not even over yet. They put up 50, and that's the first time in the regular season that both teams put up at least 50 points in a game. Incredible. And I just hate that the Tennessee Titans cannot do that. Of course, Juan says because we have nothing but wussies on our team that have no fire, no passion, and don't have anyone that hold others accountable. I think the players hold each other accountable, but I mean, I do agree that I mean, I don't know where that fire and passion is because I sometimes don't see it. Just reading through a couple of other comments. You know, Antron, who does Titans talk, chalk talk, says Marcus is a perfect, but I believe it's silly to say he's the biggest problem we have. No, he's not the biggest problem, but he is a problem. He is a problem, and he needs to solve that problem. Let's see, my man Kihai, Aloha Kihai, basically said it's coaching. Golf went from Fisher looking like a bust to a head coach with a fresh open up attack. You know, McVay. McVay probably has to be the unsung hero for the Los Angeles Rams. He has saved that franchise single-handedly, and it's because he's opened up the playbook, something that seemed like we refuse to do with our guys. And Kia saying he's wasted his career with these coaches. I mean, it's kind of tough when you've had to learn 3 offensive systems in 4 years. So maybe he stays consistent in this system, and maybe that'll help him. But I mean, yeah, I was looking at that game and I was just mad because I'm like, the Titans have so much potential. They could be like this. And, you know, it just, I don't know what else to say about that. I really don't. I mean, it's the fact that the Titan team has the potential, but they won't show it at times. And that's something that cannot be allowed. And that's something that's a coaching problem because Vrabel even said, after the game, like, we lost. There were a lot of things lost in that game. And it seemed like he didn't know what the solution could possibly be. And if you get into that situation, then you have a much bigger problem than you thought. So, I mean, Titans need to get it together if they want to be anything close to what the Rams are or what the Chiefs are or what the Steelers are. But I'm about probably getting ready to get up out of here in a minute. What I'm going to do with the Houston game, since it's on Monday night, I will be doing a pregame show here on YouTube on Sunday. It'll probably be either Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening. I will do a pregame show just previewing the Houston Texans. What can we do to beat them? The Enforcers 4 ways to victory. We'll definitely go into that. And everything. So we're going to go really in depth into the Houston game, without a doubt. So, I'm going to just save all my stuff for that show in talking about Houston. But bombshell-wise, I want to wish everybody a early happy Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoy your time with family, friends, over some delicious food, whether it be turkey, ham, macaroni, sweet potato pies, all that kind of good yum stuff. I hope y'all enjoy yourselves. Everybody be good, be safe. Sunday, we will get into the Houston Texans in a pregame show, and we would see what can the Titans possibly do to get a victory in H-Town and come on back to Nashville victorious at 6-5. So, you know what? Let's see if we can get back together and everything. So, everybody, thank y'all for tuning in to Titans and Truth. I'm your man, Chris, a.k.a. Blue Enforcer. Remember, follow me on the TNT Enforcers page on Facebook, on Instagram, Titans and Truth, at Titans_N_Truth, Twitter at TNT Blue Enforcer, and also the website, www.titansandtruth.com. www.wixsite.com/Titans and Truth. Definitely follow me there as well. So everybody, thank y'all for tuning in to another edition of Titans and Truth. I'm your man Chris, aka Blue Enforcer, and I am out.